All right, we should be back in here. Back in the building, looking all crispy and clean on the screen. Welcome, y'all. Let me know if you can hear me. You know what to do. Drop a 1 if you can see me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the ClassE Morning Show, the barely ClassE Morning Show today. I know. Run a little bit late, but we're going to get into it today. We've got an update with the Diddy trial. It's going to be interesting. We're going to talk about something that happened when it comes to Diddy's sentencing date hearing. A lot of going on there. We also have a major win for Diddy in some of his lawsuits. It's going to be crazy. And then we're going to hear some reactions from some of the legal community again, talking about how disappointed they are with the jury. It's crazy, guys. But before I get into it, I've got to say what's up to the people, man. Oh, I just realized I didn't even put the chat up there. Oh my goodness. We're struggling, but that's okay. We're going to make it through. Shout out to the gang. I know my awesome, amazing Amy is in the building. Shout out to Amy. And who else do we have in here? I think I saw Les Cleaver earlier. I saw a few of y'all in the building. We got Jay Buckmaster, I think, is in here as well. Taco Tuesday is in the building. Let me see if I can get this chat on the screen. Can I do it? Oh, yes, we got it. Shout out to the gang. Good to see all of y'all in here. We've got Amy in the building. Shout out to Amy. We've got Melissa is in here as well. What's up, Melissa? Paua Eyes is in the building. We got Slim Life New Jersey's up in here. A Fitz is back at it. We've got Bonnie Finley is in the building. Good morning. Jay Buckmaster's up in here. F Cancer. Shout out to F Cancer. Can we get some F Cancers in the chat? Yeah, I'm with you on that one. We've also got, who else did I see in here? I said, what's up, Taco Tuesday? D is back in the building. Virginia Wiley's up in here. We got Tanya back at it as well. Good morning, y'all. I'll be saying good morning to so many of you as we go throughout the show, but I need to ask y'all a favor first. If you could, please make sure you like the video on your way in. It's free. It helps the channel continue to grow. It lets the algorithm know you guys are enjoying the show. It shares the video, the channel, this live stream with more people. So if you guys could take a second and do that, it takes less than a second. All right. And I know so many of you already have. Shout out to the 314 of you that liked the video so far. Guys, I'm going to keep begging for likes until I'm no longer on YouTube. And that's going to be a long time. So make sure on your way in, like the video. It's free. Okay. Thank you guys for liking the video so far. How's everybody doing today on this Wednesday, on this hump day? Is in the building. Thank y'all to those of you who are saying you like the video. I also will be shouting out so many of you that go the extra mile, the extra step, and send in super chats as well. So thank you to everyone who's contributed so far and showed some support. My guy Les Cleaver is up in here dropping the 10 bomb. Dang. He says, happy hump day. God bless each of you. Remember to hit the like button. Come in. Oh, remember to hit the like button as you come in, please. Stay cool, be happy, and loved as always. Relax as God is in control and has this, I promise. Amen. Shout out to Les Cleaver. Absolutely, man. God's in control all the time. I love it. Amy is in here. You know what time it is. Gifting 5 memberships. If you got a membership from the awesome, amazing Amy, make sure you say thank you in the chat. All right. She's giving you guys access to members only content, giving you an opportunity to have your name highlighted in that beautiful green, and you get instant access to any videos that we drop here on the channel. So make sure if you got a membership, say thank you to Amy. She's always in here showing support every single day, and she does not miss. Doing it in every way. You know, we got Slim Life New Jersey in here. Speaking of members, she's been a member for 7 months. Wow. Time goes by fast. Thank you, ClassE, for always showing up and giving us a great show. Thank you guys for supporting. You're an amazing host with an amazing platform. Love Amy and all my CEB family. Thank you, Slim Life, for the continued support. You've been showing up consistently for the past 7 months too. I love it. Love to see it. And I appreciate you. Oh, Dottie's in the building too. Shout out to Amazing Grace up in here. I love you as well. Thank you for being here. Hope you have an amazing day. It's always good to see you. Always put a smile on my face. Shout out to Grace in the building. F Cancer said, did you hear about the insane case, I think in Kentucky, about the cop who unalived the judge in his chambers? Oh my. blew my mind. I did not hear about that, but that is absolutely tragic. Jeez, I will have to look that up. I have not heard about that case. Wow. What was going on there? Now, there was, I don't know if he unalived the judge, but there was an instance where there was a judge in the chambers and the judge had done something to a man's daughter, I believe. And I think the judge was never convicted. And then the man went back to seek vindication for his daughter. Does that sound right to y'all, or am I just making it up? That's the one y'all are talking about? That was the judge? I didn't know he finished the judge like that though. That's the one? Okay. I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I did see that, but I didn't think it was something recent. Yeah, what was the story on that? Was the judge doing something to the guy's daughter? I don't know. Y'all tell me in the chat. I'll read it a little bit later. I know we're running a little late today, so I will make sure that we check that out at some point, because that's absolutely insane. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. I know y'all are, this is going to be an interesting one, because if we were to do a little bit of a rewind, I actually have some history with this case, because not only did we cover this lawsuit when it first came out, but we reacted to it. It was the first time we were hearing about Tyrone Blackburn. And I went back over a year ago. It was actually, if you want to look it up, on May 28th of last year, we covered this lawsuit. And now it's looking like that Diddy gets a win here, and some of the claims are being withdrawn. Now, of course, Tyrone Blackburn is involved in this, of course. Mr. L, Mr. Walking L. Should change his name to Lyrone Blackburn. That's actually a fitting name for him. Anyway, we know Tyrone Blackburn was involved in this lawsuit against Diddy. It was dropped over a year ago now, which is amazing to hear. And in the lawsuit, there's claims of several SAs, several certain assaults. There's alleged battery. And now it's looking like so many of these claims against Diddy are being dropped. We're going to talk about it here in a second. Of course, Tyrone Blackburn is the one representing the client here. The man is taking so many L's. I don't even know. He could probably fill up a swimming pool. Let's see what's going on. Courtesy of TMZ. What did they say? Diddy says, I'm on a hot streak in court. Assault claim withdrawn from this lawsuit. And this just happened within the last 24 hours. Diddy is on a roll, legally speaking, because he keeps racking up a win in court. Man, it's crazy. After outfoxing federal prosecutors, he's now dealing a major blow to one of his SA accusers. What happened? Here's the deal. A woman named April Lampros, we talked about her, sued Diddy last year, claiming he assaulted her multiple times in the 1990s, but those allegations are no longer a part of the lawsuit. Shocker. According to new legal documents obtained by TMZ, the woman's claims for battery, assault of a sexual nature, and negligent infliction of emotional distress have been dismissed. The judge said, we ain't doing that. Sorry, Tyrone. The suit filed by Tyrone Blackburn also listed Bad Boy Records as a defendant, claiming the company enabled him to commit the alleged crimes. But now all claims against Bad Boy have been dismissed. No, Diddy is on a hot streak right now. The only claim remaining here is one under the Gender Motivated Violence Protection Law based on the alleged incident late in 2000 and early 2001. We're going to get into it in a second. Lampros says Diddy went back to her apartment after they bumped into each other in New York City and violently grabbed her and forced himself onto her. She says she was able to fight Diddy off and he left. Diddy's camp tells us that the dismissals significantly narrow this particular civil case, but Blackburn says it's a win. What?
Stop the cap.
The case moves forward and discovery begins. As you know, Diddy dodged a bullet last week when he was acquitted on racketeering and trafficking charges in a federal criminal trial, with prosecutors taking a momentous loss by only being able to secure convictions on the lesser charges involving the prostitution. Which is funny because they called Cassie and Jane Doe basically prostitutes. Yikes. Diddy's lawyers tell TMZ Mr. Combs' trial and acquittal on trafficking and RICO charges prove what we've been saying all along. Mr. Combs never assaulted or trafficked anyone. And that's true so far. They add, he will fight for as long as necessary to win his full vindication. Now, we're going to get into the lawsuit a little bit later and talk about specifics of what was dropped and what she was alleging, she being April Lampros. But I wanted to give you guys a little bit more insight and background into why the judge is saying they made this decision. So check this out from Billboard magazine. Shout out to Billboard. They say Diddy can't be sued over alleged assaults from the 1990s, the judge says. The ruling significantly narrows the claims of April Lampros, who was the 7th alleged victim to sue the rapper last year. I wonder if we're going to see more and more of these lawsuits just start to fall away. Think about this, guys, for a second before we get into this article. Their star witness in a federal case being prosecuted by I don't even know what to call them, by an entity that has a 98% success rate. Couldn't even prove that this man had a RICO. They couldn't prove that he trafficked anyone. And now we have all these civil lawsuits still being filed as we speak. We covered the one against Diddy and his son Justin last week. And we're still seeing these lawsuits here. I wonder if some of these charges are going to fall off. As we know, of course, the civil lawsuits, the burden of proof is not as high as in a criminal case. But I don't know, maybe some of these lawsuits will realize that it's not worth their time. What did the judge say? A judge has dismissed rape. Whoa, I said the word. I'm not supposed to say that on YouTube. They're going to get me. The judge has dismissed assault claims from one of the many civil lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs, ruling that the statute of limitations has expired for allegations that the assault mogul forced a woman to have intercourse and oral intercourse in the 1990s. April Lampros' claims against Diddy were trimmed down in a Tuesday, July 8th ruling from the New York judge Leslie A. Stroth. Lampros was the 7th accuser to file an SA lawsuit against Diddy in May of 2024. Relatively early in the rapper's legal salvo that culminated in a criminal trial this month. Lampros alleged she met Combs when she was a student at a Fashion Institute of Technology in 1994, and that he drugged and assaulted her both in her privates and in her mouth on 2 separate nights in 1995. Combs allegedly assaulted Lampros again after forcing her to have intercourse with his then girlfriend, Kim Porter, in 1996. That's what the lawsuit claimed. So Kim Porter was Cassie 1.0. Is that what we're saying? Oh, Lord. Lampros' attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, brought the claims under the New York City's Gender Motivated Violence Act, which was amended in 2022 to open up a 2-year window for assault victims to file a claim that would be typically barred by statute of limitations. But what did Judge Stroth say? That pursuant to recent ruling in a New York appellate court, this claim window only applies to alleged instances of SA that occurred after the GMVA's original passage in December of 2000. Oh, so they missed the window. The judge says, therefore, the plaintiff's claims for acts before December 19th, 2000, are dismissed as untimely, writes the judge. This means all 3 instances where Diddy allegedly assaulted Lampros are no longer a part of her lawsuit. She is allowed, however, to continue suing Combs over a 4th incident in which she says the rapper forcibly kissed her and grabbed her in the early aughts. I don't know what that means. Lampros does not know the exact dates of this encounter, saying it happened in either late 2000 or early 2001. To the extent that there is a question as to the conduct occurring in a year 2000, such are not dismissed at this time, as further discovery is needed to determine the exact date of the alleged incidents, Judge Stroth said. So there's still a chance that this entire lawsuit could be dismissed. The judge just said, hey, we're still looking for further discovery. We need to get some more information. And if I find that there's nothing there, then we might have to let this go. Wow. I'll be interested to see what discovery shows. Combs reps celebrated the decision in a statement on Tuesday, which they say significantly narrows the civil case, and it might be a win for Diddy. Importantly, this ruling was made at the pleading stage, and no evidence on the surviving claim has been submitted to court, added Combs' team. Mr. Combs has not yet had the opportunity to contest those false allegations, and the court's decision thus does not address their truth. Blackburn, Tyrone, who's behind many of the pending civil lawsuits against Diddy, tells Billboard he's proceeding full steam ahead, of course he is, with Lamprose's remaining claim. I wonder if April's looking for a new attorney, because Tyrone's been taking too many L's lately. I sent Diddy's counsel notice I intended to depose Sean Combs within 60 days, and I will be serving discovery demands this evening, Tyrone Blackburn says. Lamprose sued Diddy early in the litigation onslaught that began with singer Cassie Ventura in November of 2023. Combs quickly settled Cassie's case for $20 million. He should have done it before the news came out, but here we are. But a deluge of similar lawsuits followed. Prosecutors opened a criminal investigation, and Combs was indicted and arrested last year on charges of trafficking, racketeering, and prostitution. Last week, Combs was convicted of the prostitution counts after the 7-week trial, but jurors acquitted him of running a criminal enterprise and forcing Cassie and another anonymous woman known as Jane Doe to have intercourse with escorts during drug-fueled marathons he called freak-offs. The rap mogul, who denied all allegations in both criminal and civil cases, is due for sentencing in October. In the meantime, they're continuing the fight the lawsuits brought by Lamprose and dozens of other alleged victims. Wow, Diddy's out here winning, guys. What do y'all think? Do you think he's going to beat this eventually? Do you think there's enough for the judge to say, all right, we're going to let this move forward. Let's get into discovery. Is there enough evidence to show that the situation she's alleging in the 4th incident is true? Let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat. Make sure you look out for the other video. We're going to talk about what actually happened in the lawsuit, what's being alleged, and which parts of the lawsuit were actually dropped there. So let me know what y'all think. Wow. Guys, this is getting crazy, man. What's going on? Was this all just a scam? What is happening? Diddy's just out here. He's just out here winning. Let me see what y'all are saying in the chat. The cop that unalived the judge is in his chambers are the same person. Oh, okay. So y'all are saying that is the one I was talking. I did have the right one. Amy says she sent the story. I remember this story. Let me see. Ex-Kentucky sheriff accused of fatally shooting a judge pleads not guilty. Oh, so this man's about to go to trial? What is going on here? We're going to talk about it. Good morning to everyone in the chat. Shout out to everybody just stopping by. We got over 1,000 of you up in this place. Guys, listen. You might get annoyed by it. You might not want to do it. But I'm going to beg every single one of you, all 1,000 of you watching the show, please, please, please like the video. It's free. And by the time I get done with this monologue about liking the video, you could have done it already. So guys, I know you're going to have a great time here. It's interactive. We have a fun time in the chat. We give differing opinions. I make sure I I interact with you guys and see what you think. So please just like the video. It's free. All right, come on now. So why did a headline just come across my phone and said, in a lawsuit against Diddy, someone is alleging Diddy pleasuring himself into Biggie's shirt in 2020 is in storage? Oh my gosh. This guy was wild, but I wouldn't believe it. Government's wasting money. I agree. Yep, all a money grab. Shannon Sharpe is in court today in Las Vegas. Shannon Sharpe's gonna lose that lawsuit, y'all. I'm sorry. Shout out to Unc. Shout out to Shay Shay. He needs to go ahead and write that check. That Jesus. That civil lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe is so bad. And Shannon's admitted and confessed to so much already. It's not gonna be good. It's not going to be good. I know this video is about Diddy, but Amy and ClassE, thank you for pulling this up. I wanted to know a little more about it. Why is this world crumbling? Yeah, we need Jesus to come back. I'm ready. Come on. Come, Lord Jesus, come on. The lady is suing for $50 million. Yeah, Shay needs to go ahead and write that check. Let's see what's going on here.
The former Kentucky sheriff accused of shooting and killing a county judge inside his chambers appeared in court today.
The former sheriff, Sean Mickey Steins, is pleading not guilty to murder of a public official and could face the death penalty if, in fact, he is convicted. His defense attorneys are not denying that he shot the judge, but say that he did so while having a, quote, extreme emotional disturbance. For more on this, let's bring in NBC News correspondent Maura Barrett, who joins us now. Maura, the sheriff made his first return to that courthouse since the shooting. Take us through what happened inside.
Well, Morgan, it was an extremely brief hearing earlier today. And a reminder, this is the first time that Steins has been back in this courthouse since the shooting occurred, because after everything happened back in September, that courthouse was closed for several weeks and couldn't conduct any business. And so Steins' defense attorney entered a not guilty plea, and also noted the point that you just made, saying that they're looking, because of the extreme emotional disturbance, as they put in earlier in paperwork that we got from the court as well, they ultimately argue that a manslaughter charge would be more appropriate. Now, this murder of a public official charge, if convicted, he would face potentially the death penalty. It's a very severe charge, and so that's something that we're going to continue watching as it moves forward through the trial process. The judge ultimately did not issue bond over concern of both safety for the community and because this was a capital offense.
Maura, as we mentioned, the defense says the sheriff shot the judge during an extreme emotional disturbance, but we still don't know a lot about his motive. What more are you learning about the sheriff's daughter and how she may have been involved in all of this?
So, as there hasn't been an official motive entered into the record, but what we do know, first of all, a lot of this interaction, the shooting, was captured on surveillance video that was shown in one of the preliminary hearings, where we see Steins allegedly shoot Mullins as he's cowering under his desk, essentially. What we haven't seen on video that a detective testified previously is that moments before the shooting unfolded, Steins came into the judge's chambers, called his daughter from his phone, and then asked to see the judge's phone and tried to call his daughter from that phone. The detective testified that the judge's phone records show that there had been calls made to Steins, the sheriff's daughter. Now, it's important to note that the judge and the sheriff worked closely together before. They were described as friends prior to all of this unfolding. And so this is an extremely small rural town, everyone working together very closely. And so when you talk about the potential extreme emotional disturbance, again, we don't have details on what these calls to the daughter could have been about, but clearly from what we saw in that video, provoked a really emotional and violent response from the sheriff, guys.
Yeah, truly. All right, Maura Barrett, thank you very much.
Dang, boy, he took him out. That's sad. Now, if this judge did something to this child, then it's not sad, and we need to free this man. Because, well, I'm not gonna say that on the internet. But what happened here? He fatally shot the judge. Monday's hearing, the judge denied him bond. Let me see. I think I found the video here too. They're probably not going to show it in this segment though.
All right, some new disturbing video now shedding light on a Kentucky County sheriff who is being charged with the shooting death of a judge inside of his court chambers. Sheriff Sean Steins made his first appearance in court last week. That video is just so hard to be able to watch there, where he pled not guilty. Police say Steins shot Judge Kevin Mullins multiple times last week after an argument inside a Kentucky courtroom. They have not offered any details about a possible motive, but if convicted, Steins could serve up to 20 years to life in prison. So I want to bring in Chief Legal Analyst Clive Rhodes.
And he was a sheriff, so he got that gun in there easily. Hey guys, I'm just here to see the judge. Yeah, they don't show the graphic part. That's crazy. I agree, ClassE is justified. He was messing with his daughter. If he was, I'm not going to say how I feel about that on the internet, but it's somewhat understandable. I'm not going to say whether it's right or wrong, but understandable. we'll have to see as the evidence comes out.
Conversation right now. I'm just seeing that. It's so disturbing. I got to ask you first. It seems like there was some time there that was happening, and also to point out, as you mentioned off camera, that that's not where the shooting actually happened, but there was some conversation, it looked like. So this was a crime of passion.
Yeah, the original pause is not the shooting. You can see he's looking for multiple angles, and when you look at the entire video, it looks like he got about 4 different shots in that situation. But his attorney argued that exact same thing. His attorney wants the entire video released prior to the shooting so they can see exactly what was happening, because his client is obviously telling them that something else was occurring prior to this happening. And you can look at it. This sheriff.
And what else was happening? Amy says on September 19th, 2024, Letcher County Sheriff Sean Mikey Steins. Why'd they call him Mikey? Mickey? Oh, I'm sorry. Sean Mickey Steins fatally shot District Judge Kevin Mullins in the judge's chambers at the Letcher County Courthouse in Kentucky. The incident occurred after a confrontation between the two men. Steins surrendered to authorities at the scene and was charged with first-degree murder. While the exact motive remains unclear, there are indications that the shooting may have been influenced by personal tensions. Steins had recently been deposed in a federal lawsuit involving allegations against a former deputy, which might have contributed to recent tensions. Additionally, Steins' defense attorney has suggested that the shooting was not premeditated but occurred in the heat of passion, qualifying him for manslaughter under the defense of extreme emotional disturbance. Shout out to Amy for that. And you still don't get to shoot folks, my guy. Yeah, you just can't be out here shooting people. You know, but if someone's harming a child, I sometimes will make exceptions, but I'm not the law. Just abide by the law, okay, guys? I'll say that and we'll just leave it there. This case is about women being assaulted to stay off tags for drugs. Deputy Fields assaulted women and spent 6 months in jail after Steins was deposed for civil trial. Amy says possible motives. While the exact motive remains unclear, several factors may have contributed to the incident. Recent deposition. Days before the shooting, Steins was deposed in a federal lawsuit involving allegations that a former deputy sheriff had abused a woman in Mullins' chambers. Ooh. The deputy had been convicted of assault and other charges earlier that year. The deputy had, defensive strategy. Steins' attorneys have indicated that they plan to argue he was emotionally disturbed at the time of the shooting. They suggest that the incident was not premeditated, but occurred in the heat of passion, qualifying for manslaughter charge under the defense of extreme emotional disturbance.
Was already under a federal investigation. They had lunch together, him and the judge. And so there was already this personal connection multiple days before this shooting took place. And so because of that, his attorney saying, look, he shouldn't even be charged with murder. It should be a manslaughter charge. It should be heat of passion. The judge denied it, kept the murder charge there. But I agree with your assessment from looking at that video. The first approach is this looks like it's something personal. It doesn't just look like a random shooting. Yeah, and also to be able to point out, though, because when you look at what's on video, again, you're innocent until you're proven guilty. Make that point. But the video, I mean, we're seeing people on the video. We're seeing what's happening, going on. If you did it, why plead not guilty? Well, you plead not guilty because you save yourself for another day. Pleading guilty, the case is over right there. He goes to prison for 20 years to life. You plead not guilty, you get an opportunity for a preliminary hearing. At that preliminary hearing, his attorney will make an argument for a lesser charge. He'll make an argument for some type of pretrial release. He'll make multiple arguments to try to put his defendant, his client, in a situation where he can get some type of lesser charge than what he was already facing, which was life without parole. And so the goal is, okay, we'll not plead guilty and we'll figure out what avenues we have. One of the things that the sheriff said is when they were arresting him, just treat me fairly. And he says, hey, they're trying to take and kidnap my daughter and my wife. Now, those are the statements that the sheriff made when he was arrested. And so he must have some alternate type of theory or defense, if he's this defense attorney, to try to figure out how he maneuvers him out of there. I will say this, the arrest in North Carolina is not a defense to murder. So even if you are under duress, you feel like your life is in danger and someone's threatening you to do something and force you, that's not a defense to murder someone else. Right. So if you're saying that someone was threatening to kidnap your daughter or threatening to kidnap your wife, whatever his allegations are, that still wouldn't be a justification to then do that as a defense in this situation. Okay, so
Wow. Okay, so this is getting crazy. What else do we have here? We've got another video. I might just go through a couple of these and see what's going on. We've got News Nation. I don't know. I don't want to hear from Ashley. Ashley gets on my nerves sometimes. They have a body cam. It looks like Law and Crime has body cam on the Kentucky sheriff appears paranoid after shooting the judge in his chambers. Well, I mean, obviously, I think it would be kind of weird if he was calm. Amy says he was also deposed in a federal lawsuit filed by two women, one of whom alleged that a deputy under his supervision had assaulted her in Mullen's chambers. The lawsuit accuses Steins of failing to investigate the allegations, but it does not include any charges against him for assault. Oh boy, we're gonna try, Ashley. Goodness.
Before the United Healthcare CEO was gunned down on the streets of New York, the shooting that took our breath away was the killing of Judge Kevin Mullins. Right?
What? We're starting already. What does the Luigi Mangione have to do with this guy? Oh my goodness. I can't. I'm trying, man. These narrative, these platforms try and spin are insane.
Before the United Healthcare CEO was gunned down on the streets of New York, the shooting that took our breath away was the killing of Judge Kevin Mullins right there in his own chambers. We know who fired those shots. It was on video right there. That was Sean Mickey Steins right there with the gun. He was the sheriff at that time of their rural Kentucky county. And he was also a close friend of the judge. And he's not a sheriff anymore. He's an inmate waiting for trial. But just like the CEO murder, the motive in the Judge Mullins case is a mystery, which means that the two men's long shared history has been under the microscope. And tonight,
mystery. Wow.
A gut punch of an exclusive to tell you about. It turns out there are recordings about the dead judge that tie him to some very dirty business in that county. A sex for favors scandal that sent a former deputy to jail and got the sheriff, who's now facing murder, sued in federal court. News Nation investigative producer Allison Weiner uncovered these recordings, and she joins me live now. You're such a great producer. I mean, we send you out to dig this stuff up, and then I have to have you on television to report it. What kind of a recording are we talking about, Allison?
Well, these are recordings from the criminal investigation into Deputy Fields, the guy that went to prison for the sex for favor scandal. And Deputy Fields was convicted of rape 3, of sodomy, and also of perjury. So the recordings are from his victim. And she subsequently has filed the civil rights lawsuit in federal court. The victim is Sabrina Atkins, and she was interviewed by police about what had happened to her when she was an inmate in Fletcher County in Whitesburg. And that's where Sheriff Stein was working, and also where Ben Fields was working. And these recordings, I was listening to them, and I just sort of stopped and was like, I'm beginning to see that Sheriff Stein's life was coming apart, like sort of one block at a time. And this was not a good thing that I was listening to. And let's take a listen to it, and then we can talk about it.
This is wild.
But he does have some videotapes of some stuff in the judge's chambers.
What kind of stuff?
Just
Okay, it says, but he does have some videotapes of some stuff in the judge's chambers. What kind of stuff? Just with girls, sexual and stuff.
With girls, sexual and stuff.
What describe? Have you seen?
What describe? Have you seen the videos? I've seen only partly. Just him having intercourse with girls for their bail to get them out of jail.
In the videos?
I've seen one partly, just him having sex with girls for their baby to get out of jail.
Who was having sex?
Who was having intercourse? Ben and just some higher ups up there.
Ben and just some higher ups up there.
Who?
The judge and.
You saw the video.
The judge, and you saw the video. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you see on the video? I mean, you.
What did you see on the video? I seen Judge Mullen having intercourse with a girl.
I mean, I've seen Judge Mullen having sex with a girl.
Who was the girl?
I don't know.
Who was the girl?
I don't know a lot of people from over.
Where was it at?
Who's the girl? I don't know. And girl, country folk, girl can mean anything. Girl can mean just the person. So we don't know if he meant a girl, or like a kid, or just a chick or a woman. I don't know, because I don't know a lot of people from, where was it at? In his office, the judge's chambers.
In his office, in the judge's chambers.
Is that the same place that you were meeting Ben? Is that how you know it was a judge in chambers? And this was Judge who?
Mullins.
Is that the same place that you were meeting Ben? Is that how you know it was the judge's chambers? And this was Judge who? Mullins.
Allison, wow, that's pretty clear. That's her saying Judge Mullins was having sex with these people in his chambers, just like the other deputy. Here's the question I have, because it seemed to me that it became an open secret among female inmates that you can sleep your way out of jail because these men and these higher-ups, not the ones necessarily on the screen, this is an allegation only, will have sex for these release favors.
That's correct. And by the way, the Sheriff Stein denied during his deposition, which was a couple of days before the murder, that he had anything he had any idea that any of this was going on. But the fact is that the plaintiff in the lawsuit, again, Sabrina Atkins, said that she had heard rumors and that you could exchange sex for not having to wear your ankle bracelet. She didn't say that specifically, but for some favors. And that's exactly what ended up happening, because she couldn't afford to pay for the ankle bracelet. You have to pay for the ankle bracelet weekly. And those are the allegations in the civil lawsuit, that Sheriff Stein should have known or knew about what was happening with Ben Fields. And Sheriff Stein is the big name in that lawsuit. It's Sheriff Stein and unknown superiors and Ben Fields. So he was facing some heavy damages and the loss of his entire career based on this civil rights lawsuit. And frankly, the plaintiff's lawyers told me, Ned Pillersdorf has told me several times, because it's like they were running a brothel out of that courtroom.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Well, I feel like it's just the tip of the iceberg, because there's still a lot more to connect Stein's allegedly murdering the judge based on what the judge maybe would have said to bring Stein's more into this picture. So you're invited back, anytime, just knock on the door and you're on. Allison Weiner, great.
Thanks for watching.
Wow. Okay. So this is a crazy story. Let me know what y'all think about this. Again, there's so much we don't know. If there was something deeper going on behind the scenes, I guess that would come out in discovery, especially if this is a part of the reason why he went up there. I don't know if that helps the defense, though, because if Steins was aware of all this was going on and he was trying not to be involved in certain happenings, then wouldn't it be a bad thing for the defense if he knew that the judge was participating in something dirty and he was getting Steins involved in it? That would be bad. That looks like premeditation to me. Either way, I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments in the chat. We got one more thing we'll look at too. Shout out to the gang for putting me onto this. This is crazy. A crazy story. I heard it and I was just like, we won't get into it, but it seems like, wow, there's a lot there. This is the power of being a woman. You can sleep your way. Oh my God. Who said that? The Suburbia Jones effect. Why are you like this? Get out of my head. That is hilarious. Oh, sexual liberation at its finest, right? Let me see. Some of y'all sent super chats in here. Shout out to the 1,200 of you that are in the building. Big shout out to Kara Hampton in the building with the 2-bomb. She says, good afternoon. Have a great day, all on purpose. Absolutely. Thank you, Kara Hampton, for the 2-bomb. Yo. That is insane. Oh, y'all want Diddy to fail so bad. Y'all are sick. Oh, man. Who wants Diddy to fail? Come on, man. You got to take it instance by instance, case by case. Right? If we're talking about DV, Diddy needs to be held accountable. All that other BS, leave him alone. I think if he found out his daughter was involved, that would be what kicked in the crime of passion scenario. Premeditation is going to be a huge part in this. That seems to be the route the defense is going. The sheriff's daughter was allegedly one of the recent victims, and that set the father sheriff into a rage, allegedly. Let's see. I couldn't figure out why her face threw me off. Now I see it. Oh, y'all talking about Ashley. That's crazy. I still can't believe that comment. That's one of the craziest comments I've ever seen. You can sleep your way out of jail. My. What Amy says, Stein sat for a deposition in 2022. Federal lawsuit brought by 2 women, not 3, alleging a former deputy, Ben Fields, coerced them into encounters in Judge Mullins' chambers. One of these women, Sabrina Atkins, alleges he coerced her into having intercourse inside Mullins' chambers for 6 months in exchange for staying out of jail. The second woman had related allegations, though charges were dismissed because she later died. Dang! There was no third woman deposing Steins. The lawsuit involved only those 2 plaintiffs, and Steins gave testimony over several hours. His demeanor during the deposition, described as depressed, subdued, odd, has become a focal point in the investigation into his mental state before he allegedly shot Judge Mullins 3 days later. Oh, there's got to be connected somehow. The expression on her face, I thought she smelled something. All right, y'all leave. Come on now. Sadly, they chose women who were drug addicts, and they were sent to drug rehabilitation to make money for the county. Just came through to say hello. Got to get myself together. Have a good one, y'all. Shout out to Kara Hampton. How old was the daughter? I have no idea. Let's go into this other segment and see if we can find out. Wow, that was really loud. And see if we can find out more about what happened in this case. This is really interesting. We're pivoting a little bit, but I definitely want to check this out from Court TV. Maybe they'll give us some more insight. We'll have to see.
This is the town of Whitesburg in Letcher County, Kentucky. The locals call this part of the country Appalachia. It's a place where folks get to know each other because there just aren't a ton of people living here. That community gets even smaller when you talk about the criminal justice system. Public defenders can become prosecutors who can become judges. People who are related by marriage can be on opposing sides inside the courtroom. And people seem to get along with it and figure it all out. It's just the way things are. That's why no one suspected anything violent or dangerous was going to happen when the local judge, Kevin Mullins, and the sheriff, Mickey Steins, had a closed-door private meeting inside the judge's chambers. But what happened inside there, no one in this small town expected. The sheriff asking the judge for his phone, then making a call from that phone, then shooting and killing the judge. All of it was recorded on video. Sheriff Mickey Steins is now charged with first-degree murder after surrendering immediately afterwards. And now the community is finding out a lot more about what happened as the first court hearing takes place in Kentucky. Tonight, we'll show you exactly what happened in court and then break down the potential motive and what this trial will be all about as folks in Appalachia try to heal from this shocking courthouse shooting.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments.
Shout out to Vinny.
We learned a lot. We learned a lot today about the shooting of Judge Kevin Mullins. First of all, what became very clear is that the judge knew he was going to die moments before he died.
Really?
That was crystal clear. He was apparently unarmed. The sheriff had a gun, and it was pointed right at the judge, and he started firing. The judge knew what was going to happen. He knew how it was going to end. The reason we know is there is shocking video of what happened inside the chambers.
Okay, let's skip ahead to the motive. Let's see this.
It's my understanding that video lasted much longer, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And have you had an opportunity to review the video
I have.
Of the prior incident?
I have.
And can you describe for us what happened immediately prior to the clip that we saw?
Sheriff Steins uses his telephone to make some phone calls. He then borrows Judge Mullins' cell phone and appears to make a call on that.
Dang.
And that led to what you just saw.
Okay. So it's my understanding there were some people who were having a meeting with Judge Mullins prior to the sheriff's entry into the chambers. Is that correct?
Yes.
Have you identified those witnesses?
I don't know the names of them. There's about approximately 4 people in there. Then Sheriff Steins enters the judge's chambers, and everybody else clears out.
Once the 4 people that were inside that we don't know their names, once these 4 people had left the chambers, were they in an area adjacent where they could hear anything that was going on?
Yes, I believe some of them did remain in the next room.
Okay. And
wow.
What did they tell us?
Do what?
What did they hear?
I've not been part. I wasn't part of those interviews.
Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, you're prepared for a preliminary hearing on a murder, and there are witnesses in an adjacent room.
I mean, they heard gunshots.
Can I please, my question, please?
Yeah, please ask the question.
Thank you, officer. So you are investigating a murder and testifying in a preliminary hearing, and there are witnesses who may have overheard what preceded this edited clip, yet you can't tell us today anything that they said?
I've not personally listened to those interviews. I've talked to the other officers that did those interviews.
Fair enough. And I mean, we're here at a preliminary hearing, as you know, that you can testify to hearsay. I'm asking you what they said.
They heard gunshots.
Okay. Was there any statements that they overheard?
No.
Were there raised voices?
One person stated that she didn't recognize him as being Judge Mullins' voice, but heard somebody say, "Help, help."
Of course, your investigation, did you ascertain that prior in the day there had been a lunch meeting between Sheriff Steins and Judge Mullins?
There was.
What was said at that meeting?
Okay. Sorry, I couldn't hear your response. I wasn't being trite. So where did this take place?
It's a restaurant called Street Side, and it's just down the street from the courthouse.
Okay. And it's my understanding there were a couple of other people who attended the luncheon?
There were several, yes.
Okay. And at some point after that, they wrapped up lunch and left, obviously, and went back to the courthouse. Are you aware of anything so far in your investigation that would tell us there was any issues at lunch between Judge Mullins and Sheriff Steins?
No.
Okay. But someone on behalf of the KSB has spoken to those witnesses?
Yes, they've all been interviewed.
And there was nothing unusual that had arisen during that luncheon?
I was told that the judge made a statement to Mickey about, do we need to meet private in my chambers? That's all I was told.
Do you know the context of
what
the conversation was before that they would need to discuss in chambers?
I do not.
So it's my understanding that in the larger portion of the video that we haven't had access to, that there is a point when Sheriff Steins asked for to see the telephone of Judge Mullins.
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And I would presume that you and the other officers you mentioned when you secured the scene, that you secured those phones as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
And have you reviewed both of those phones?
They're currently at the forensic lab at this time being downloaded. I have had discussions with the people at the lab regarding the downloads.
Based upon your conversations with the officers, are you aware of any recent content that was up and could have been relevant at the time of their discussion?
I was told that Sheriff Steins had tried to call his daughter, and he had tried to call his daughter from the judge's phone also.
Have officers confirmed that the sheriff's daughter's phone number was on Judge Mullins' phone?
Man, Mickey, just tell us what happened, man. Dang. Because he's not saying anything. I wonder, it seems like Mickey's going to have to testify in this trial. What was going on, Mickey? Why'd you do this?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
So that number had been called from Judge Mullins' phone,
yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
There's your case. There's what this is going to be all about. Why is the sheriff's daughter's phone number on the judge's phone? And what exactly is the nature of that connection? And is that, and it seems to somehow be related to the sheriff's daughter, the factor that made the sheriff do what he did? Like, he took these actions for a reason. knowing what the result would be.
Yeah.
Big day in Kentucky. Court TV producer Cody Thomas on the case tonight, joining us live from West Liberty, Kentucky, where this was taking place, not in Letcher County. All right, Cody, let's start first. You were inside the courtroom. I saw you there. Describe what's happening in that courtroom. I'm interested in who was there, how they...
And do we know when this is going to trial? I'll have to look at it and find out.
They were reacting, interaction. Are the families there? Set the scene for us.
Well, of course, Vinny, the families of both parties were there. Judge Mullen's family sitting right behind the prosecution table. And of course, once that video played, that was the biggest moment of the day, just seeing, you know, the point of death once Steins pulled that gun out and shot at Judge Mullins. And I can tell you, Vinny, as soon as that video played and the family saw that, there was maybe a quiet hush for 1 to 2 seconds before his family just burst into uncontrollable tears. There was lots of hugs, lots of consoling. And I want to let you listen to some of that raw emotion right now so you can fully get a grasp of that moment when they saw that video.
Was that a portrait video?
That's tough.
So, Vinny, you could really hear it right there, just that raw sadness, that detriment in those yelps and wails that came out of them. And, of course, that wasn't the only thing that was talked about. You just mentioned it, the phones, the Steins' daughter's phone number in Judge Mullen's phone. That was a huge development in this hearing today, huge development in this case. There was no official word on the record about, again, the nature of that relationship, whether there was inappropriate or not. But, again, a crucial piece of evidence for the state coming on the record to say that that number was in his phone.
Well, let me ask you, Cody, you mentioned the families. Does that mean that the sheriff's daughter also inside that courtroom today?
Okay, so Mickey's daughter is reported to be 17 years old. Uh-oh. She was 17. Is that... What's the law in Kentucky? Would she be considered underage in Kentucky? I would guess so. Is she considered age in... I want to see what the laws are there. Okay, yeah, she would still be considered a minor. Age of consent in Kentucky is 18. Oh. There you go.
There were a bunch of people speckled on his side. There's more people on Judge Mullen's side, less people on the sheriff's side, but I did see two teenage girls sitting over there that did resemble his daughters, and they kind of sat there stoic, as did the sheriff when the video played. He didn't really have any emotion. He kind of just looked at it. He didn't look away. He just accepted it for what it was, and his family didn't hear any cries from that side of the courtroom, but I did see them holding each other, just kind of, again, accepting what was being shown to the court, as gruesome as it was.
What a moment. I can't imagine being that family. You're watching your loved one being executed, defenseless, cowering in the corner, trying to get some protection, trying to just get away, and unsuccessfully, obviously. Okay, let's get into some...
Wow, this is a crazy case. Yeah, thank y'all for putting me on to this one. Let me know what y'all think. Oh, no, did I just move my camera? I think I did. Let me know what y'all think about this. This is crazy. I know Amy was in there cooking too. What did Amy say? So the daughter was allegedly 17. We don't know when this actually happened. So was she 17 when it happened, or was she actually 16, or was she closer to 18? I don't know. We've got a lot of details we got to find out. Yeah, 18. Yeah, definitely underage. But she could have been even younger when it started out. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Kentucky countries raise money for the government for money to send addicts to rehabilitation. If the addicts keep relapsing and keep going to treatment, more money for the county. Disgusting. That's really heartbreaking to hear. This video is months old. A lot has changed since then. Yeah, I agree. I thought they were going to have some new insight, but they didn't. Poor women where addicts have been systematically abused by law enforcement. I agree. This sounds like an underhanded secret, disgusting abuse of power in their legal system. Welcome to Kentucky's version of Canton, Mass. Yeah. Corruption seems to be running rampant and getting exposed. I think that's with any legal system. Guys, I mean, you've seen the corruption here in Fulton County, right where I'm at. We saw it throughout the entire YSL trial. There's always something. When you have that amount of power, there's going to be a lot of bad actors, going to be a lot of abuse of power. You really have to have a lot in place to combat that. Amy says in early 2022, Sabrina Atkins filed a federal civil lawsuit against Letcher County Deputy Ben Fields and Sheriff Mickey Steins, alleging that Fields, who supervised her home incarceration, coerced her into certain acts in Judge Mullins' chambers, promising to waive her ankle monitor fees and prevent jail time. Jeez. These encounters reportedly happened 6 times, ranging from forced kissing to intercourse between June and December 2021, with Fields removing her monitor, then reapplying it before court appearances. Wow. Atkins claims Field abused other women similarly, using his position of power. What would have happened if she just ran off without the ankle monitor on? That's crazy. Fields faced criminal charges, pleading guilty to third-degree assault, sodomy, tampering with the monitor equipment, and perjury, resulting in a sentence of 7 years probated with 6 months in jail and registration as an offender. Really? The other named plaintiff, Jennifer Hill, later died, and charges related to her allegations were dismissed in criminal court, though her estate remains of plaintiff in a civil case. In December of 2024, Atkins publicly stated that she believed broad misconduct occurred in the courthouse. It's like they were running a brothel out of the courtroom. She shared that she saw videos depicting Judge Mullins and others engaging in sexual acts in his chambers. In February 2022, Atkins files the lawsuit. Fields is suspended, then fired by Steins. In fall 2024, Steins is deposed in his case just 3 days before he allegedly shot. Well, I mean, he shot him. There's no allegedly there. He allegedly shot Judge Mullins, making the deposition and Atkins' allegations central to evaluating motive and state of mind. Atkins sued Fields and Steins for coercing sex in Judge Mullins' office under threat of jail. The lawsuit and her testimony directly impact the investigation into Steins, particularly because of the deposition's proximity into the judge's death. Wow. Shout out to Amy giving the inside scoop. Good morning, y'all. Good morning to everybody who's still in here. Oh, good afternoon now. Not allegedly. Yeah, he shot that dude. Deputy Fields' wife was his jailer. What? He had a new bed and TV brought for him in the jail under the courthouse. Are you serious, Starfish and Coffee? Dang, we're going to have to follow this case. Let me see. Trial set to start. No, we're going to have to follow this case. This is wild. They don't have a date yet. Grand jury indicted him November. He's trying to get bond. It's not scheduled, pending evaluations and pre-trial rulings. Wow. Wow. Did he not empty his gun? 4 shots. Northern DC says, I'm lost. Hell, this is crazy. Sounds like it was going on before he was shot. I agree. Deputy Fields' wife. Okay, I read that. That's insane. When it happened and played on the news in Tennessee, where I live, they reported that the father sheriff found out about his daughter being a recent victim and met with him several times to get the truth, and then he killed him. Premeditation, not looking good. What's up, CPE? Appreciate you being in here, man. Always good to see you. Boy. Thank you again to all 1,000 of you plus that are in the video, and all of y'all like the video. Okay, I'm not going to beg as much. I'm still going to beg because I know some of y'all are just joining the show. Please make sure you like the video, please. All right. Thank y'all to everyone who already has. Y'all help out so much. Check out Hillbilly Crime. I will definitely have to check that out. Amy says, this is crazy. She says, I am. Uh-oh, you are what, Amy? What happened? We've got, shout out to Big Black. What's up, man? Have they got proof of all of what the judge and the rest that was involved? Well, I guess they were talking to one of the alleged victims and they said that there are videos of the judge engaging in that activity. If so, then there's the proof that they can find it. And with the judge being, you know, no longer with us, there might be some hard drive somewhere. I don't know. Jay Bugmaster said #1 show on YouTube. Hey, you know what time it is. Thank y'all for being here. We'll have to wait and see. We will definitely be following this trial. It'll be interesting to see when they set a court date. I know we've got a lot of trials coming up. I need to see. We've got a couple of trials coming up, actually. Let me see when this one starts. We've got Naziah Harris is coming up, and that's supposed to start in October. Jury selection for that is October 6th. Oh, man. And we got to make sure we check that out because we got to make sure Jarvis gets buried under the jail. This trial is insane. Insane. He said, wait, they were having freak offs in the judges. In the judges' chambers. That's what it sounds like. Full drinking, half thinking is in here with the 10 bomb says, been a while. Peace, power, and prosperity, bro. Same to you, my friend. Stay the course. Big salute to you and the lady. Thank you so much. Full drinking, half thinking. Always good to see you in here, man. Keep up the great work. Absolutely great work. Y'all make sure you go follow and subscribe to Full Drinking and Half Thinking in the building. He'd be over there live streaming too. He's doing an excellent job. Nancy Nicole. So did he know what was happening? Yeah, Brian, we need to hear a story from Mickey and find out what's going on because he knows a lot of something. So we'll just have to wait and see. All right. Dang, I feel like we had a lot of other stuff to get into, but that was a great pivot. Again, shout out to y'all for helping make the show the way it is. I had a couple other things I wanted to get to, but I don't know if I'm gonna get into it. I've got it in the title, so we at least got to talk about Megyn Kelly, and then the other topics we might get into here in a second. So you know what? I lied. Let's do this first. I'm not supposed to say I lied. I was playing. We're going to talk about this interesting topic here. All right, so y'all check this out. So recently, we know the Diddy trial ended. Obviously, we're waiting to find out when Diddy is going to be sentenced. And it looks like there was some drama surrounding Diddy's sentencing. We got to find out what's going on here and why it seems like court was adjourned when they were trying to figure out when Diddy is going to be sentenced. It looks like it's October. We'll have to wait and see. Check out what ABC News had to say here. Here we go.
Sentencing date hearing unexpectedly adjourned following the conviction of Sean Diddy Combs last week. In fact, defense attorneys and federal prosecutors initially agreed to a September 22nd sentencing date for Combs. This is ahead of a remote hearing that was set for this afternoon. But shortly before the hearing, attorneys for both sides sent a joint letter to the judge saying that they had agreed to the original proposed sentencing date of October 3rd. Combs was acquitted of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, but convicted on 2 counts of prostitution-related charges. He faces a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison on those counts. And our ABC News chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky has the latest.
Kate, Sean Combs is going to be sentenced this fall after he was convicted of 2 counts of prostitution-related charges that together carry a maximum prison term of up to 20 years. He is unlikely to get that much, but federal prosecutors are expected to ask for at least 5 years. Combs will receive credit for time served, which will subtract about a year from the ultimate sentence. His acquittal on sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy charges took away the possibility of life in prison for Combs, who's preparing to ask for leniency. The defense has already argued Combs has taken steps to address what the judge called a propensity for violence, as seen on 2016 hotel security camera footage. And his attorney said Combs began a batterers program in New York prior to his arrest. The defense has also argued Combs did not make money from prostitution, but rather was the primary client of the male escorts he was convicted of transporting. His attorneys were prepared to ask for an expedited sentencing. They backed off that at the last minute, and so the judge has set Sean Combs' sentencing for October 3rd. Kana?
That's interesting. I wonder if they say, hey, judge, just think about it for a second. Maybe the judge they were hearing things that they didn't like. Why would they back off like this? Very, very odd. Very strange. And they say hearing scheduled for Tuesday afternoon to hear arguments for Sean Diddy Combs to receive an earlier sentencing was adjourned without any arguments being presented or a new date being set. To all of my attorneys who watch the channel, I need y'all's insight into this. If you see this happening in maybe a case that you have or you've seen in the past, what would be your reasoning for this to happen? Defense attorneys and federal prosecutors initially agreed to a September 22nd sentencing date for Combs, according to a joint letter filed Tuesday ahead of a remote hearing set for 2 o'clock Eastern time. Then, shortly before the hearing, attorneys for both sides sent another joint letter to Judge A.S. saying they had agreed to the judge's original proposed sentencing date of October 3rd. I wonder why that is. Is there maybe some new information that's going to come out? Why would they say, no, guys, I know you wanted to let Diddy go in about 5 weeks, but Your Honor, we're just going to keep him there. What is up with that? Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo and prosecutor Christy Slavic were on the scheduled teleconference, when the courtroom deputy interrupted to see if the attorneys had anything to discuss beyond a sentencing date. When Agnifilo and Slavic answered, they said they had nothing further. The deputy adjourned the conference and informed them that the judge, A.S., would respond to the parties in writing. All right. A.S. has now sent the sentencing for Sean Combs to October 3rd, officially, according to a post on the court docket. It was not immediately clear why the defense apparently abandoned, at least for now, their attempt to secure expedited sentencing for Combs. What is going on here? The judge had agreed to hear arguments for expediting the sentencing following a split verdict on July 2nd that acquitted Combs of racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking, but convicted him on the 2 counts of prostitution-related charges he faced. The defense argued in court last week that exceptional circumstances warranted expediting sentencing, including the 2018 death of Combs' romantic partner, Kim Porter. The mother of some of his children has passed away many years ago. These kids, the 2 daughters here sitting in the middle of Your Honor's second row, don't have a parent. That's fair. Defense attorney Mark Agnifilo said in court last week. Federal prosecutors appeared to oppose anything other than the usual course, including a pre-sentence report from probation officials that would require Combs to sit for an interview. The only things exceptional about this defendant are his wealth, his violence, and his brazenness. Oh, dang. Has Diddy seemed brazen throughout this court proceedings? I'm not seeing that. I think that's a stretch. Prosecutors Maureen Comey said. She also said that the government plans to pursue significant incarceration for Combs on the prostitution charges. Combs faces a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison with 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, though it's possible that he will receive less than that for a first-time conviction. Any sentence would include credit for time served, which so far totals roughly 10 months. Combs' split verdict last week follows a 6-week of testimony that saw the prosecution present 34 witnesses and the defense present none. The jury of 8 men and 4 women deliberated just over 2 days before reaching their decision. All right, so we actually have this letter here from Agnifilo, and I want to read this and see what he actually said. He says to the judge, "Dear Judge A.S., the parties have met and conferred and have agreed to the following schedules for sentencing, post-verdict motions, and submission of offense conduct to the probation office." This just happened yesterday afternoon, guys. For the sentencing, the parties proposed the court's original date of October 3rd, 2025. The defense proposes that the probation office provide the parties with a pre-sentence investigation report on or before August 29th, 2025. That the defense objections to the PSR be filed on or before September 5th of 2025. And that the government objections to the PSR be filed on or before September 12th, 2025. That the probation office disclose their final PSR on September 18th, 2025, that the defense's sentencing memorandum be filed on or before September 19th of 2025, and that the government sentencing memorandum be filed on September 26th of 2025 this year. The government and the probation office do not object to this schedule. For post-verdict motions, the parties propose that the defense file any post-verdict motions on or before July 30th, 2025, and that the government respond on or before August 20th, 2025. Finally, the government requests that it be permitted to submit the summary of offense conduct on or before July, this week, actually a couple days, and the defense does not object. We appreciate the court's consideration. So this is strange. Why would they push initially for Diddy to be sentenced sooner and then suddenly take back what they're saying and say, "Judge, we'll just give you till October"? And Diddy has to sit in jail because his bond got denied. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. Kind of confusing, but I'm sure there's a reason. And shout out to y'all in here. I don't like Diddy, but they are treating him unfair according to the law. I agree. You're definitely not. It's a major part of this. And who her father is. Oh, you must be behind. Northern DC, you gotta catch up. You gotta hit that refresh button, my friend. A couple of y'all sent in some super chats as well. And thank you again to all 1,100 of you that liked the video. Slim Life New Jersey's in here with the 2-bomb, says, "Can we please cover Steven Stearns? Starts July 25th. So we got a couple of weeks until Steven Stearns. What is Steven Stearns about? Is it spelled with a Madeline Soto murder suspect Steven Stearns to face judge? Oh, Madeline Soto, SA murder suspect Stephen, I think it is, Stearns to face judge. He is charged with first-degree murder and 60+ child SA charges, which include capital battery, lewd or lascivious. Investigators say they believe the 39-year-old is the last person to see Soto alive. They said Stearns was supposed to drop the teen off at school on February 26, but the teen was reported missing later that day after the mother went to pick her up from school and discovered she never arrived. I don't know how many of these cases I can do, guys. It just, because I've already committed to Naziah Harris. Oh man, thank you for bringing that to my attention, Slim Life. I'll think about it. Jeez. CPE's in here, gifted 5 memberships. If you got a membership from CPE, do the right thing, guys. Say thank you. Show them some love. Mr. Brown in here, speaking of showing love, just dropping the 4-bomb for no reason. Thank you, Mr. Brown. And then we've got, hold on, We Ain't Got No Quit. Shout out to We Ain't Got No Quit. That's a dope name. It says, keep showing up. We don't miss, guys. We ain't got no quit, as she said. I can't believe that man is only 39. He looks 50. The mother is involved somehow. I'm back. Oh, man. Wow, it's amazing what happens when you put in new, better light bulbs in the room. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. That is rough. That is rough. I think they're going to use that year and the day rule to try and get him out, says LaShonda. Interesting. Okay. What is that? Did anyone hear about the jury being under investigation for the verdict? Please. I hope he gets the, oh my gosh. Amy said it's almost lunchtime. Shout out to Amy dropping the cake. You know, Amy's got the best cake in the building. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Amy. Thank you for the cake, as always. My dog Freezy is in here too. Shout out to No Captivity with Freezy. Y'all make sure you go subscribe. Show my guy some love. Another amazing content creator. Shout out to all the content creators in here today. Showing up and showing out. As a mother of a 13 and 9-year-old, all these inappropriate cases involving children are disgusting and so heartbreaking. I don't know how much I can deal with. Man, that's tough. All right, let's get into Megyn Kelly. We're going to do this last segment, and then I'll let y'all get out of here. Speaking of Diddy, I know some of y'all are sick of hearing about Diddy, but listen, Diddy is out here. He's out here winning. He won. Cassie and Jane Doe got called prostitutes. And people are mad about it. We got to hear from Nancy Grace. We heard, oh, hold on. I pressed the wrong button. We got to hear from Nancy Grace. She was pissed. We got to hear from Ebony K. Williams. Actually, she held it together. She seemed like she wasn't totally and completely surprised and understandable about this. And we're going to be hearing about more reactions later. But when it comes to this Diddy trial and the verdict, we got to hear from Megyn Kelly because she was not happy about this verdict. We're going to find out why. You guys get to give a reaction to this as well. Here we go.
For you, New York Times reporting, this won't surprise you. Combs's body language is totally different from yesterday when he seemed crestfallen and grim after the jury said it had reached a verdict on 4 of the 5 counts. Now, acquitted of the most serious charges, Mr. Combs appears energetic and relieved. Can we just talk about, here's the picture, here's the sketch artist's picture of Combs yesterday of the grimness. And I'm sure we'll get one today of him looking much more relieved. I'm so confused about, here's a little bit more, New York Times, with a touch of levity. The judge said he assumed Combs would not want to return to the Brooklyn jail where he has been held. Combs shook his head vigorously and put his hands together in prayer. Oh, it's all just so chummy inside the courtroom for this disgusting pervert female abuser who I can't believe is about to roam our streets again. I'm sorry, I'm disgusted by this verdict.
Oh my God, will you relax, man? Why do we not have this smoke for the other people involved? Calling him the P word, I think, is a little bit strong. Is it perverted what Diddy was doing? I mean, obviously he's disgusting for putting his hands on people. But come on. I don't know. Y'all decide. Let me know.
This is fucking ridiculous. I just find it absolutely outrageous, the amount of crime that this guy just got away with. I believe he committed arson. He definitely battered Cassie. He battered Jane, too. The statute of limitations for battery in Los Angeles, California, is 1 year. 1 year. So if they didn't charge him for battery within 1 year, and they couldn't because he bought the tape and it remained hidden thanks to those security guards out there, then they could never charge him with that again. There's no question. He dragged her back into that hotel room. Why wasn't that kidnapping? They only talked about the kidnapping of Capricorn Clark, who was his sort of main assistant, because she said he grabbed her and made her go with him over to Kid Cudi's house. There's no question he broke into Kid Cudi's house, in my view, and that he opened up the Christmas presents and locked the door in and made a threat. There's no question in my mind he was behind the arson of Kid Cudi's car, and there was proof, plenty of proof to prove that. No, okay, there was female fingerprints they found on that, the firebomb that was left there, the Molotov cocktail. And the prosecution said there's no question he didn't do it himself, but he said, I'm going to bomb Kid Cudi's car. It's in writing. Cassie Ventura emailed her mother saying, oh my God, he's threatening to bomb his car. And 2 weeks later, it got bombed. Oh, gee, it was just some third party who also had, it's just like the proof was there.
No, the proof was there, except it wasn't, Megyn, because 13 people said no. And you know, it's interesting, because the issue might not be that the jury didn't believe Diddy was guilty of arson or some of the other things. The problem is it was structured under RICO. So when it comes to RICO, it could have been confusing. You say, hey, if he did this and this, then that's going to mean there's a RICO charge. But if the jury is thinking, but there wasn't an organization, organization wasn't created to commit crime. Why are we charging him with RICO? We can't find him guilty of RICO, even though he may have committed the arson. It's a problem.
Beatings, the threats that if they didn't go back into those rooms and get off with these male escorts, that they were going to get beaten. The testimony from that Daniel Phillip, who was the male escort, who heard Combs abusing Cassie behind the door, and she was screaming, I'm sorry, as he heard him slapping her. Get back out there. She came back out. She was shaking. She got back into the escort's lap, physically shaking. She was so scared to the point where that guy couldn't perform sexually because this was so horrifying to him.
Allegedly.
What in the actual F went on in there?
So Megyn, let me just for 1 second, Phil, because let me just get Megyn more pissed off, if I may. So if the judge gives him a reasonable sentence, let's say he sentences him to 5 years, okay? And he's already got time in, and with a halfway house, he's out in 3. How quick is he going to be accepted back into that Hollywood scene, blah, 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 blah? Or do you think people will still keep him at an arm's length?
I mean, look, I will make it my personal mission to maintain his humiliation in the minds of all Americans. There's no question he's fallen as this revered figure for a large portion of America, but he also has diehard fans who want to pretend this is a Johnny Depp situation, you know, where he was wrongfully accused, that's my own view, by somebody who was out to get him, who played the victim when in fact she was abusive. This is not that situation. This is not. Cassandra Ventura was an extremely sympathetic witness who was not some powerful, I'm going to play Kid Cudi against Sean Combs. She was traumatized by this guy. She remains suicidal to this day, given all that was done to her. Listen to this. I almost don't even want to read these updates. New York Times, Sean Combs is now on his knees, his elbows on the chair where he was sitting, his head buried. He appeared to be praying. He started a round of applause, which was echoed by his family, who are jubilant. Yay, yay. We only have an abuser and solicitor of prostitutes in the family, not a sex trafficker. Sean Combs'
Cassie was soliciting prostitutes as well.
Supporters and family are now clapping and whistling for his legal team, who are all embracing each other. They actually did get a victory, and that's different. They should be hugging. Go ahead, Phil.
She's big mad.
The judge is allowing that kind of thing in the court.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that also.
Yeah, what's that about?
Or maybe the judge is off. There's no place in the courtroom for this because, look, regardless of whether or not you agree or disagree with the verdict, there's a certain dignity and decorum that's only that's appropriate for courtrooms. And in federal courts, judges are famous for enforcing it, oftentimes much more so than at the state level. But look, back to your whole thing.
Well, this Megyn, is a Biden appointee, so who knows about the dignity required. Sorry, keep going.
Back to your dismay with the jury's verdict. Look, juries are always wild cards. You got 12 people in there that come from different backgrounds, different walks of life. They have different political philosophies. They have different religious philosophies. They have their own biases, whether they say they can leave them outside the courtroom or not. They bring them in there and they analyze and they view things. And sometimes jurors are just stupid. Sometimes they're just dumb. Sometimes they're not capable of understanding the law or following the judge's instructions. So you factor all of that in there, and what you've got is a system where, guess what? After doing this almost 40 years, I have come to the conclusion that you cannot trust jurors to ever get it right, whether you're a prosecutor or whether you're a defense lawyer. Jurors and juries cannot be trusted to get it right. They get it wrong a lot. And that
get it right. Phil is right, and I'm going to let him finish what he's saying, but he's 1000% right. It's up to you to present your case, and this case was BS. So in this instance, they did get it right because the evidence wasn't there.
Be trusted to get it right. They get it wrong a lot. And that is what usually brings people to the bargaining table to come up with, plea deals like we have seen maybe in the Koberger case coming up today. But look, you just can't trust a jury ever to get to the right result. Sometimes they do, but a lot of times, unfortunately, they don't. And that cuts both ways for the prosecution and the defense.
Yeah, I mean, I get what Phil is saying here. I know we want to go purely based off of what he's saying. It is in general, if you, again, as an attorney, are looking at a case and you can see exactly how things work or should be according to the law, that's fine. But with jurors, the reason we've been able to call so many of these verdicts is because jurors are regular people like me, regular people like y'all. All right. Just everyday people. And Phil is saying they don't get it right because you're looking at it from a lens, as he said, someone who's been practicing law for 40 years. And that's not the case. The jury's decision is all that matters. So getting it right, if you want them to get it right, then you have to present your case. If they're not seeing the evidence, if the evidence doesn't show that someone is guilty, and if you haven't proven it beyond a reasonable doubt, then you think there wouldn't be an issue, Phil. So I think, do the juries always get it right? No. Do the juries always get it wrong? No. I think most of the time I don't know if the jury gets it right or wrong most of the time, but I will say this. Prosecutors don't do their job a lot. Because if you're going to say the jury doesn't get it right a lot of the time, whether you're a prosecutor or you're a defense attorney, then that has something to say about the person presenting the case. That's the reason people take the plea deals, because they look at the evidence and they look at their attorney. They're like, hey, man, we ain't beating this, are we? And the attorney's like, no. It's just, jury's not gonna, when the jury sees this, is not gonna be great. That's why they take the pleas. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. I couldn't take any more of Megyn yelling and cussing. Phil did make an interesting point, and I think that's what I want to hear from you guys, how you feel about the jury in this case. And is Megyn's outrage rightfully so? Jeez. So dramatic. Why is she cussing too? Oh my gosh. Shout out to y'all. Did you see Tommy's comment about the jury being under investigation? I did. Yes. Megyn's a redneck. For a majority white male jury to acquit on the main charges, you know that case was weak as if. Yeah, they probably didn't care. Emotions do not belong in the courtroom. Facts are what this about. Homegirl in her feelings. She's big mad. White and white passing women will often play the race card against men they accuse. If you want to see Diddy go down, just say that. Good Lord. Juries are always a wild card. Yes, I agree. We recently saw some good jury verdicts with the YSL and Karen Reed, but that's not always the case. Kel Bell, I agree. I think it all depends on how you present your case, and the burden of proof is always on the prosecutors. So, with that being said, if a jury votes not guilty, I would say that means the prosecution didn't prove that to the jury. So it's not about them getting it right or wrong. It's about, what did you prove? If they vote guilty, it means you did a good job. Or they just don't really like the person in that case. Plus, if you wasn't in the courtroom during the trial, you don't know what the jury saw. That's true. I hate how she blamed this on Biden. What? The man is out of office and temporarily ill. Let it go. It's all in the presentation. Oh, man. What is Amy saying? Amy was over there cooking Megyn. Your selective outrage is louder than your ratings and are both out of touch. Megyn Kelly needs to shut the hell up. You don't get to act like the voice of morality when your whole brand is built on stirring up racial tension, dog whistling on national TV, and crying about Santa being white. Oh, here we go. This is the first video I've ever watched from Megyn Kelly, by the way. I saw her a couple times when she was on Fox, but yeah, it seems like she's doing well. Shout out to Megyn Kelly. She was on Fox, right? Yeah, it was Fox. Megyn sounds like a slave owner. y'all are tripping, man. Dang. Oh man. Megyn Kelly supports Trump, who was found liable in court for SA. She is just racist. Hey, you got to be consistent, Megyn. You got to be consistent or they're going to call you racist. You can't have it both ways. All right, let me double check and make sure we're good. Thank you again to all 1,100 of you that liked the video. Big shout out to everyone that went the extra mile and supported via super chats. We got Les Cleaver in here, my guy, Slim Life New Jersey, Kara Hampton, Full Drink and Half Thinking, CPE, Mr. Brown, We Ain't Got No Quit, love that name. And then, of course, my awesome, amazing Amy. I appreciate y'all. You know we're going to be back tomorrow talking about some more of this BS that's going on. We may be looking at some new trials coming up as well. So again, thank y'all for continuing to be a part of the show and for making this the great morning show that it is. All right. If you haven't yet, like the video on your way out, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live. We'll be dropping several clips this afternoon. So y'all stay on the lookout for that. And as always, you know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace. Somebody go get Megyn some coffee.